Fauzi, Managing Director in iExperts. Very happy to be with you today in our webinar, the PCI DSS and PCI 3DS implementation challenges and the best practice. Today, we will speak about both of these industrial standards in the world of payment card industry. So we will review here together what are the basic steps that we have to follow to have both implemented, and when we will need this one, and in which case we will need this one. Let's start with our agenda. We will have here basics of understanding of the PCI DSS requirements and the PCI 3DS. Then we will go to the DSS implementation and 3DS implementation. Then we will go to we will discuss the challenges, and we will discuss also the best practice. Then we will ask here, what is the reasons to have both? What are the best tips and tricks to have both? Fine, with the minimum cost, with the minimum time, with the maximum quality and efficiency. First of all, you can find here that we have the following in introduction. Usually we have PCI DSS. It's the most popular industrial standard in the world of the payment card industry. This is here. It is very popular to find a lot of organization telling you that we are PCI DSS compliant. Yes, it is the most known member in the PCI Council standards. While the 3DS, the card production, the PCI 3DS, the PCI card protection, the PCI pin security, all of them, they are not popular like the PCI DSS. Why? Because PCI DSS, it's setting the basic requirements for the securing the CHD. Any of your credit card, cover card, or debit cards that you have, it's containing basic information like the credit card number, that containing 16 number, that it's 16 number without a change. And there is a part of this numbers, the first 6 digits are reserved for the schemes. So usually you can notice that when you start to write your credit card number in some websites. So once you start to write down the first 6 characters, you will find that the website started to write the logo of Visa, the logo of MasterCard, the logo of American Express. It got detected from the first 6 characters. So this is the 16 digit that we call it here, the card number here, or the credit. This is the card number. And also we have part of the CHD. It is your name on the card, the expiration date, and the 3 or 4 digits on the back of the card, the CVV. So this is also, remember, the PIN code. It is a part of this CHD. It's a part of the sensitive data of the CHD. If you are making processing, if you are transferring, if you are proceeding any of this items, any of these components of CHD, you are in the exposure PCI DSS, and sooner or later you will find your clients, the banks that are working with you, the issuer, fine, they will start to ask you for PCI DSS. You as a merchant or you as a service provider, you must be PCI DSS compliant. So we can start with understanding the basics of PCI DSS, and it is required on the 3, and it's required for the main main coverage here for securing the main component of the CHD. When we go to the PCI 3DS, usually you notice that when you start to make some certain online transaction, fine, it is extra layer of requirements. When you go to make certain transactions with your credit card, sometimes it will tell you, I will send you OTP. The bank or the issuer here in this game, fine, will send you OTP, fine. So this is here in the PC. So this is here, this OTP here, it is because the PCI 3DS stand for 3-domain secure. So in the PCI DSS, we have here to understand that we have 3 players in this game. The acquirer and the issuer, and we have here a third party that's securing the relationship between them. So these 3 domains must be secure. How we can start to secure them? First of all, it is the access control server that is securing all of these transactions and proceeding these transactions and securing this data. It will never let you perform here this certain activities without being secure and without having this 2-factor authentication to proceed or to authenticate you. Also, we have here the domain server that contain all the information, and it must be secured in a secured environment, and to make sure that all the administrations for all the provisioning and deprovisioning for all the accounts, it is happening in a secure environment. Finally, the 3DS server that will authenticate and that will manage and secure all of this authentication mechanism here. Usually the 3DS, it's required for the secure online transactions. Usually it is applying for issuer, merchant, and for the ECS providers. Maybe if you are purchasing this service from a specific payment gateway, you must make sure that this payment gateway, they have this feature, and maybe you can no need to take the certificate on your own. You can get from your card issuer here, fine. So it can be managed here, or no need to do it on your own. You just make sure here that you have this layer that prevent the fraud and the chargeback. If you will go without securing your environment with a PCI 3DS, or it is not required by your regulator or by your clients, I think here you must make sure that you are getting the service and making sure that you will never pay a big penalty if there is fraud happened and so on. And this is here a contractual part. So we can say that PCI is required for merchants, for processors, for gateways, for acquiring bank, for service provider. Service provider, for example, I am providing you with SMS. And this SMS, part of this SMS can contain some information. Or I am a call center. If I will receive some calls and I will move you to the IVR. Do you know the IVR systems? When you call here, for example, British Airways, for example, they say, welcome to British Airways. For English, press 1. For French, for example, press 2. This is the IVR system that we know it's very popular in the world of call center industries. So when we deliver this service and when we deliver this as a service provider for others, and one of them, we will proceed for this client here, sensitive information over phone. So we have here to have we have to be compliant. We have to be compliant with PCI DSS as a service provider, because I am not merchant here. I am a service provider. Even you are a data center, you are a hosting provider, mobile payment provider, all of this are required PCI DSS. Ahmed, can I host my data on a data center? This data center, it's required for me. I am a bank, I am fintech, I am merchant, and PCI DSS is required for me. So I can host my data on a data center That is not PCI compliant, yes, but you have here certain, the answer is yes, but you have extra requirements to make sure to secure the physical security and a lot of components, because in PCI DSS we have 12 requirements. This 12 requirements here has a lot of sub-requirements that is securing the CHD. No need to discuss all of these requirements with you. You can find it listed on the PCI Council website. Fine. It is not a matter here to, we have discussed it before, the 12 requirements of PCI, but today we are speaking here from a mature perspective after paying PCI DSS. Is it required to pay PCI 3DS or no? Or for the companies that are in exposure to apply both together. So here's the PCI DSS. If you are hosting your data on a cloud service provider that are not PCI compliant, it will be difficult a little bit. It will need more effort. So because of that, you can find the majority of service providers that are providing services for fintech, they started to become PCI DSS compliant day by day to make it easier for their clients to be PCI compliant after that. The PCI 3DS, it is required for issuer, the card issuing here, bank, for the merchant that usually focus on e-commerce. For any providers that are providing here this service, for example, technology company that's providing you with the ACS service here. The payment network also, including the schemes here, for example, here, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Union Pay. So at the end of the day, extremely important to understand this part, to understand here, that it is very important to understand that the main objective of the 3DS is to prevent fraud. Why we need both of them? Actually, what is moving us to have this PCI DSS and 3DS in place, actually, it is the mainly it is the global payment fraud that is cost us $40 billion. The increasing of cyber attacks, the regulations that are requiring this, and day by day, especially in the world of fintech. And also, if you can say here, the movement in all countries toward the digital payments. Digital payments is became a part, integral part of our environments nowadays. So at the end of the day, I think it is not fun when I have a message that there is here one merchant, compromised merchant, used my credit card and I have to pay $1,000. I think it is not fun. So because of that, we have to secure this. So it's became required for the online transactions, that especially between acquirer and issuer. Fine. So because of that, it's extremely important to have both. Also, the PCI DSS here, remember, it is protecting here cardholder data, while the 3DS, it is for authenticating users, preventing fraud for online transactions. So PCI DSS requiring or concerning here the CI from the CIA. If we are speaking about CIA in information security, our life, it is CIA. Our life is to protect the CIA here, fine, the confidentiality, integrity, availability. So at the end, when we speak about the PCI DSS, it is controlling or concerning the CI, confidentiality, integrity. But when we look at the PCI 3DS, it is actually focusing on the 3DS. It's focusing on the concept of the authentication. Again, the authentication here, it is extremely important, fine, because the authentication here helping us to understand that we will never achieve the CIA without having AAA, authentication, authorization, accounting, non-repetition. Fine. All of this, we call them supporting functions. So at the end of the day, extremely important for you to understand this basics of main objectives. 3DS is a story, while DSS is another story. When we speak about the versions of the PCI, we have some differences in the PCI nowadays. Fine. So starting from the version of the 3.2.1. Fine. So you can find here that we have prospective controls, periodic assessment. Periodic assessment, this is including the penetration testing, the vulnerability assessment, the ASBS, the application security scanning vendor. And on the other hand, we have also basic multi-factor authentication starting from 3.1 that you have to have two-factor authentication on certain requirements or on certain here non-console, any non-console, you have to have two-factor authentication. It was from version number 3.1. It was mandatory. I think this was in 2018, starting from 2018, 2017. I cannot remember the year. And we have standard level of validation. While here in 4.0.1, the latest version in PCI DSS, we have now the flexible risk-based continuous compliance enhancing MFA, multi-factor authentication, customized validation. So this is extremely important here to understand this requirements and understand that all of the requirements that are in the PCI DSS, which is mean more confidentiality, more integrity. However, as we know, in the PCI DSS, it is not considering the availability too much. If you have availability set up inside your organization, we will set some extra requirement for that. But if you do not have, it will not be one of the requirements. So because of that, in the PCI DSS, it is not requiring from you to have a disaster recovery site or something like that. What are the common challenges in the PCI DSS? The common challenges here, it's coming from the legacy systems that maybe be patched, maybe managed. We have to we have to have clean vulnerability scanning report, but in reality, we will not have all of them in place. So at the end, we can say here that it's extremely important for you to understand what is the legacy systems, fine, what are the, if you can move them or you can apply workaround or something like this. This one of the first challenges that we can see here, fine, that we can see here inside our environments. Also, the skilled, the experienced implementation team. Frankly, the experience here can help you to get you can drive from London to Cambridge on a specific way, for example, M75, or you can go here for a specific way. If you go here to this way with this speed, you will arrive. But if you selected to instead going north, you will go east, west, south, you will not arrive. So if you want here something solid, something a solid results, successful results on time, on budget, you must understand that it is part of your job is to have skilled, experienced implementation team so they can move you from the point A to the point B with the shortest time, with the latest effort, with the most efficiency. Also, the continuous monitoring demands consistent attention. Extremely important. Yeah, extremely important here. When we speak about the monitoring, for example, if you are working in the PCI DSS, if you are compliant, and we said congratulations, and after the celebration of the PCI DSS, remember that you must keep and maintain the logs on a SIM solution for 1 year. Continuous monitoring, continuous maintenance for the information that we have extremely important to understand this. In addition to that, we have here third-party vendors expand risk exposures. This is also, it's a part of the requirement. If you are working with a third party and this third party got a security incident, maybe you will be affected by a reason or another, by a direct way or indirect way. So you must understand. When we speak about the common challenges in the 3DS, you have to understand that usually we are not saying that PCI DSS is requirement for 3DS. So you can go for 3DS directly. But in your way for 3DS, you will pass by the PCI DSS. For example, let me give you example here. If you are driving, for example, here from Frankfurt, from city to city. Let's select any two cities in any two locations here. For example, from Vienna to Munich. So in your way, you will pass by Salzburg. So Salzburg, it is not the destination. But if you are driving from Vienna, you will go to this way and pass by Salzburg. Even you will not stop there. You have to continue to go to Munich. Munich here, it will be the 3DS. Salzburg here, it will be the DSS. In other words, the 3DS, it is part of the requirements of the 3DS is the PCI DSS requirements. So at the end of the day, we can say that to achieve the PCI 3DS, you have to do two ways to do that. To be PCI DSS compliant and implement the extra requirements for the 3DS, and you have just to present for your QSA just the AOC, the attestation of compliance of your PCI DSS, or you have to do both to be 3DS. The 12 requirements of the PCI DSS and the extra requirement for 3DS. Why? Because we mentioned it clearly that the PCI DSS, it is concerning the confidentiality, the integrity. While the 3DS, it's concerning the authentication mechanism. Strong authentication, which is mean more confidentiality, more integrity. You will never achieve this confidentiality and integrity without great authentication like this. So these are the challenges here. Find in the 3DS, the experienced team, the integration delay, maybe increase the project timeline because maybe we need to finish the DSS first before the 3DS. Fine. Maybe the misconfiguration for this critical components can create some gaps. Usually when we speak about the PCI implementation steps, first of all, we start with something we call it here scoping. Scoping here, extremely important. The scoping here, fine, extremely important. Why? Because at the end, you have to understand that it is a part of the requirement here, fine, to understand here that you must here be compliant with the 12 requirements on certain scope. I'm speaking here PCI DSS. So if you are compliant, if you want to be compliant here, you will not, I think it is not fun to go with this 12 requirements here, with this heavy requirements here, with to apply them across all your environments. So we can say that the best way here to make scope, which is mean, where is the CHD in this VLAN? So let's take it on this VLAN only. Usually the PCI DSS, it is a certification against scope, not against company, department, data center, services like ISO. Again, PCI DSS or the PCI in generic, it's against scope. So because of that, if one of your service provider told you that I am PCI DSS compliant, ask them about the AOC, attestation of compliance. That describes the scope. First of all, we have to make this scoping. It is not fun. Second, we will go to perform a gap analysis against the current controls. fine, against the standards with comparing between the current controls and the needed controls here. Let's execute the remediation here, develop the policies, procedures, perform the activities, code review, penetration testing, how to write secure code training, the ASV, the segmentation test, all the risk assessment, of course, above and before all, fine. And let's perform this activities, the awareness training for the persons that are working with CHD. Then we will go here to go to the attestation and the auditing that is end with AOC, attestation of compliance, ROC, report of compliance, and COC, certification of compliance. The duration of the PCI DSS, it's taking around maybe 3 months, 6 months, maybe 1 year, according to the scope. Maybe less, maybe more, maybe less than 3 months if you are ready. If everything is ready, if you have your WAF, your SEM, your FEM, your devices are ready, your applications are developed and mature, completed, so we can stop. But if you still will develop your applications, will install your applications, so this is, you will purchase your devices, I think this will take a lot of time, and we have to understand this. For the 3DS implementation, let's identify what are the system components. Fine. Let's make the gap analysis against the control. Let's test the controls in something we call it here certified lab. Fine. Let's submit the results to the PCI Council. Let's get the approval and get your AOC and ROC based on the DSS. Usually, when we speak about the best practice here, we are speaking here about you have to make regular risk assessments here. Regular risk assessment from time to time. You have to maintain the compliance. By the way, being compliant, it's a story or a challenge, something challenging, and maintaining this compliance, it's another story, another challenges. Which one is more easier? I cannot say this one or this one, because for the first time you have less requirements, but you are starting everything from scratch. While when you make maintenance, you have extra requirements. You have extra requirements and so on. So at the end, you have a responsibility there. Something different. These are challenges from type, and this is another type. So this is the implementation multi-factor authentication, MFA, encrypts the sensitive data at rest and in transit here, monitor the logs, detect any issue that exist to detect the fraud immediately. This is for the PCI DSS. For the PCI, here, 3DS, we usually recommend to use adaptive authentication to reduce here infraction or something like that. Let's implement secure tokenization. Let's make sure that the components are safe and secure. Let's educate your customers on the 3DS authentication. Let's optimize the fraud prevention by having the 3 components between the 3 domains are managed, safe, and secure. Remember that this is here, data breaches here happened. A lot of data breaches happened without PCI DSS. There is here a retailer data breach happened because there is no requirement, so there is no encryption at rest. So they are storing the credit card information in a clear text. This is included here, $100 million of penalties. So at the end of the day, you can find here that the lesson learned here that they implemented this PCI. However, if there is here a good ROCE performed well, return on security investment, usually the persons that will are involved on this, they will advise you or advise this management to implement here this security controls before this compliance requirements before being hacked, to avoid this data breach. Also, another e-commerce platform fraud happened for the 3DS. This fraud cost them $2.5 million. By the way, these numbers can destroy some organizations, can destroy some startup. So to secure the business, you have here to set the controls and The lesson learned here, it was the PCI 3DS, fine, could have prevented fraud and prevented trust. Finally, security across payment environments. Remember here the importance of end-to-end encryption here. When we are using cloud-based payment processing, we are securing them, fine, through this compliance here. And also, we are trying here by this compliance to automate the compliance audit and monitoring. Thank you very much for your time. Actually, this webinar, usually it is 30 minutes from time to time. We are planning to have these webinars just to start to exchange our experience together, to make refreshment of our knowledge. So I hope this webinar was useful for you. I hope it was informative, and thank you very much. If you have any question here, fine, just let me know, and I will be more than happy to answer you. Please go. If you have any question, please write down on the chat box, please. Seem to be no questions. So very happy to spend this time with you, this 30 minutes with you. See you soon in another webinar, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you.